Good evening. Welcome to the September 3rd, 2013 regular session of the school committee, the opening meeting for the 2013-2014 school year. This time we'd ask that you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time we'd ask that we observe a moment of silence for our men and women serving overseas. Thank you and good evening. Before we begin the receiver's update, I just want to thank the members of the school committee for their hard work last year and also give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. Starting down at the left with Ms. Mariano.
Thank you, Superintendent. My name is Pat Mariano. I represent District E.
Jim Vittorioso, I represent the great District 8 Prospect Hill. This is my 12th year. Every year gets more frustrating. Thank you.
Pavel Payano, Vice Chair, represent District C.
Francisco Cirillo, District D.
Jim Blatchford, District F.
Melquisedec Santos, District B.
Thank you all and good evening. We're going to begin with some of the success, including a performance by some of our students. I'm told, however, that they had to have a last-minute emergency bathroom break. So while they come back from that, I just wanted to talk about a few things that happened over the summer, including our graduation, where we had over 100 students eligible to graduate this summer. This is the largest summer graduation we've had, as students went to graduation academies in the spring, made up coursework in the summer, and were able to graduate. I want to thank Ladami Correa and other folks at the district office for working with our students, Mr. Qualter, the HLC, the Phoenix folks, for working with our students to get our kids the help and support they need. I would also like to thank the students. Many students, for whatever reason, were blown off course, but were able to see their way through and persevere and get across the finish line. So congratulations to all of them. I know that many of the school committee had an opportunity to attend that, and I just wanted to again thank them for coming during the summer months. I would also like to thank the school committee members who came for our opening day ceremony. We had an exciting opening day with performances from our kids, as well as the opening direction for the school district and where we're going. We want to thank you for your continued efforts and support on behalf of our students. With that said, I'd now like to introduce some members.
Mr. Sir,
Yes, sir.
I have a question, sir. How many students graduated in August, and what was the total cost? And I realize that, before you say anything, I realize that all students don't come to the table with the same appetite. You have your A students, you have your Bs, you have your Cs and Ds. But first of all, I think the sum is enormous, and you can't put a sum on a kid's future. But why is it graduation after graduation in the summer, you seem to have a plethora of students that can't make it in the 4 years, and they come, and now I don't compare ourselves to other schools, because other schools, it's the parent issue, which no one wants to listen to. We gotta train our Spanish-speaking kids. That's why I think, to me, is the biggest problem. But,
Can I make a suggestion? Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Vittorioso.
No, you don't, Mr. Vice Chair, it is my honor. Go ahead.
Since we have these youth ready to sing for us, how about we wait until they finish, and then we have, because I have several questions regarding the enrollment and graduation as well.
You know what? I'm an old man. The children are gonna be old someday. It's yours to perform and do well, and God bless you.
So I'm proud to introduce Chanel Jamie Guzman, who comes from the Oliver Partnership School, Kayavet Guzman from the Weatherby School, Miguel Jackson and Charlena Lopez from the Frost Middle School, and Jasmine Dela Cruz from the Partham Middle School, who are going to sing It's Possible from the musical Seussical. We had an opportunity to see them at the opening ceremony, and they just wowed the crowd. So take it away, my friends.
girl who's hanging out clothes. It's possible. Anything's possible. It's possible. Anything's possible. This might be a river, now mightn't it be? Connecting my Galaxy's pool with the sea. And maybe some fish might be swimming towards me. If a little who's patient, she might get her wish. And that's why I think that I'm not such a fool when I see her and fish in my Galaxy's pool. It's possible. Anything's possible. It's possible. Anything's possible. It's possible. Anything is possible.
Thank you all for that amazing performance. They also got a standing ovation in front of almost 3,000 people at the opening day ceremony. And so for our kids to get up in front of such a large crowd was a true accomplishment. Moving on, we're going to show a brief video. Matt Evangelista is here. If you recall, a group of his students were invited to perform at the prestigious film festival, the Fringe Festival in Scotland. And they put on a theater production there. And I believe we have a brief video to show you from it.
can't return. We can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in a circle again.
Once again, congratulations to our students who performed at this very prestigious festival. We have Matt here to answer any questions that the group may have.
I have questions of the gentleman. How much money did you raise for this trip?
The kids paid different amounts depending on scholarship need, but we raised about $70,000, and the total cost of the trip was about $100,000.
And did these generous people that gave you $70,000, were they given any letters of appreciation from you?
Our thank you letters are going out. We've had certain
You
things,
haven't
but
been sent out yet?
no, we just got back last week. So
See, why, I don't mention names, but one person was very disappointed. I guess you can never please everybody, but they thought they should have received them before you're sending them out now. That was the only comment.
well, we're sending pictures of the kids there, so that's part of
But
the.
that's not the point.
Thank you.
I gave money to your group too. I give money to everybody. But the point I'm making, and not a very good thing, you said it after the fact. A lot of these people I talked to, there were three, they would have appreciated a thank you before the fact. It's a matter of timing. And you did raise $70,000. That's quite a bit of money. When I went to school in the 50s, archaic 50s, we never thought of field trip. The biggest field trip was to Boston or Cannibal Lake. We never had teachers that had the fortitude you have to raise money and send people 4, 5, 6,000 miles away. An experience which they'll never forget, an experience they'd probably never be able to take on their own. The point is, and I'm belaboring it, a couple of people were disappointed they didn't receive a thank you.
Well,
Now
Mr.
you-
V, I think the thank yous are coming. I think that what they were waiting for was to include the photos from the trip, which obviously takes some time to process. But all those thank yous will be going out to folks.
Well, again, I'm gonna say, Mr. Superintendent, I know a couple, and I gave money. Do I give more money than I should? But the point of the fact is, several of them I know were disappointed. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you. Other questions, comments?
Superintendent, Matt, I want to thank you for giving these kids the opportunity to go to Scotland and making the world a smaller place for them. I just would like to ask the kids something. What was the highlight of your trip? Any one of you answer. What will you remember for the, for the rest of your life?
So I guess the trip there was like really fun, but the military tattoo, I have to say, was like the best. Like it was super cool because it brought so many cultures together. Like there was Mexican culture, there was Chinese, everybody was there, and we're all celebrating like, each other's cultures, and it was just a beautiful experience that I will never forget.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Would you like to share?
I would also have to agree with Janilsa because everybody was there. Everyone was together. It didn't really matter where you were from. Everyone was together, and we were just like celebrating like peace, and yeah, everyone was like one.
In like a very extremely beautiful place. It was like, I don't know, it was just amazing.
Well, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the school committee for all your hard work, for raising the money that you raised, and for taking this trip and representing our school district and our city very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks. Appreciate it. This time, we'd ask Sarah Lynch to come up. Is Sarah with
I
us?
just have a quick
wait a
quick
minute.
comment, sir.
He has a.
Yeah, no, I just want, I want to echo that, but I think especially, Mr. Evangelista, from the moment you mentioned this, I think a lot of people didn't think you were going to do it. I think it sounded like a good thing, and it was like, yeah, you guys go out and try it, but I don't think a lot of people actually thought that it was going to get done. And not just yourself, but the team that was with you, supporting you guys through all this, your school, all of you have done an amazing job, not just getting there, but representing this school and this city in the way that you've done. And I am proud, as being a former theater guy myself at the high school, I am so proud that you guys have been able to take the banner of the Lancers out in the internet, to Europe and the international world. And I am looking forward to see all the other amazing things that you guys are going to be doing in the future. So I want to make sure the school committee watches out, because I know I was just talking to Mr. Evangelista that there's a few projects that you guys are working on, and hopefully we'll be able to help you guys out and really pack the theater like it should be, because you're having people from Europe watching you guys do the amazing work. It's important that the people here also see it. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. This time, we'd like to call up co-principal or co-leader Sarah Lynch from the Oliver Partnership School. Okay.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Well, and how are you?
Doing
Excellent. Thank
Doing
you.
well. Just a quick question for Mr. Riley. Is there any way we can turn on maybe that fan or something else that can be done?
I think it will.
Gotcha. Okay.
We'll try to get through it quickly, but please.
So I just wanted to speak a little bit about the Oliver Partnership School. It's new this year, and the Oliver Partnership School is a labor management school where the teachers have an equal say in decision-making when it comes to both our students and the management of our school. This school is the fourth of its kind in the United States and the first in Massachusetts. The teachers have been back receiving professional development from the AFT, as well as Nancy and myself, since August 16th. The school day is extended from 7:55 to 3:25, with ample opportunity for extended day enrichment activities.
The teachers have brought a positive new vibe to the building, which has already affected its success. The students showed up on August 21st wearing their new red uniform shirts donated by the teachers' supply stipend of $100 each. Besides minor hiccups, such as being lost within the building or little ones missing their parents, we overall had a very smooth start to the school year, which I know will be very successful. Our school has 2 co-leaders, myself and Nancy Parchuk, 4 special education teachers, a behavior interventionist, an academic interventionist, a parent and community engagement point person, Mrs. Garcia, 4 enrichment classes, which is gym, art, music, and Lawrence history. Additionally, we have a math and an ELA coach that focus on curriculum and data. And finally, we have a sheltered immersion coach who is working diligently with our 2 ELL teachers. Our building is full of charm, as it is a 100-year-old building, and the assembly hall is back to its historical blues. The yellow hallways are donned with black and white photos of our great city, which is keeping with the theme of Lawrence, past, present, and future. So far, so good.
Question?
Yes, sir.
I graduated from there. I graduated before our present city council chairman and school and representative. I graduated from there in '54. What is the ultimate, just the one ultimate goal that I look for? I know experimental. What's the one ultimate goal that you can show the taxpayers of Lawrence, me and my committeemen, the one ultimate goal that you want to have done this school year?
For me personally,
No, never for you. You have your education, God bless you. For the children.
for the children,
Yeah.
morale, being happy coming to school. That's it.
I was unhappy, but I was a very good student. I don't think happiness has anything to do, A's, B's. And so I don't agree with you, young lady, on that. But
I think it was an
I don't
opinion
agree with
question.
too many people, huh?
I think it was an opinion question. My ultimate goal is for the children to be happy.
And how are you gonna ensure that?
That's why we're trying to build up the morale of the building, trying to add extended enrichment activities, and try to put forward more notion that we care not only about their academics, but what they do in the community and what else we can bring into the school for them.
Over the last 10, 20 years, I keep hearing that term, enrichment. What about the solids of math, science, English?
We have plenty of that, sir.
And are those enrichment exercises?
No, they are not. Enrichment would happen to be, besides their gym, art, music, enrichment classes also bring in outside, not only agencies, but programs that students can do, whether it's photography or if it's even just like healthcare, different activities that students might be interested in, because obviously we're trying to target everybody's needs and wants.
Now, you know the man you're sitting here was sent by the state because Lawrence is the poorest performing school system, probably non-Massachusetts, but in the United States of America. How do you intend to unburden Mr. Riley with that title, we're the worst in the state?
I think, Mr. V, they've worked incredibly hard.
Oh,
They came
yeah.
in over the summer, they donated their own time. This is a partnership with the Teachers Union. We actually had the president of the National Teachers Union here, and it kind of goes with our belief that we have to do this together. And I would say that I do not believe we are the lowest performing school system in the country. I think we probably are among the lowest performing in the state, but we aim to change that, as you know.
The lowest one, if you take a trip to Maine, I'll show you the lowest performing school system in New England, which I know well. Keep up the good work. How do you get parent, you know, it's always been my point of view that the parents' participation in Lawrence is minimal, because most of our students, their parents are Spanish speaking, and I've had kids tell me, "Mommy, Puppy can't help me." What are you doing to get parents involved, that their kids are more willing to be learners?
You know, I think that's a really good question.
Thank you, I'm glad somebody does.
We actually do have our community relations point person this year, so her specific focus is going to be on working with parents. Now, what we would like to do is we've set up a community engagement room so that we can not only show parents how to do the schoolwork that we're teaching, because you know, it doesn't matter how many years ago you went to school, education is consistently evolving. So we want to keep them up to date on how we're teaching and the methodology that we're using. Additionally, we'd like to offer English classes. We'd like to offer support in native languages, because it doesn't mean that you're not a good parent if you're not speaking the language, as long as you can help your child at home, regardless of whether it's in English or Spanish. We're going to work on trying to provide help with curriculum as well.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it. There is a video, I'm told, of the Oliver Partnership School, but I think we may play that at the next meeting, if that's okay. This time, we're gonna call Frank O'Neill, a teacher who may be in the audience, to come help us
I'm a
with,
school committee person.
to come help us with some recognition. As the school committee knows, there was a lot of work done over the summer to get the schools up and running. We have new programs, we have new schools. We've spent a tremendous amount of money trying to fix our buildings. But we also had some volunteer help. And tonight, we'd like to recognize two people in particular, two retired city workers, Robert Kerr Sr. and Leo St. Louis, who volunteered at the HLC to help make that an inviting school for our children. They spent many, many hours. Now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. O'Neill.
Done well, Mr. Superintendent.
Okay.
All of the teachers at the High School Learning Center, in appreciation of the hard work put in by both Bob and Lee, pitched in to show their appreciation for their many hours of volunteer effort on behalf of the students and the staff of the High School Learning Center. They've signed, and every teacher participated in this, and they signed a card of appreciation to each of them and contributed something towards each of them so that perhaps they could take their special other person in their life out and enjoy some time with them, in the hopes that it would help to make up a little bit for all of the hours they spent with us, helping us get our school ready, and if I may say so, have one of the best openings that I've ever participated in the Lawrence Public Schools. And I have a card here for each of them, and I would like to just present it to them if I could.
Sure. If possible, we'd like them to come up and with the school committee take some photos. We have some certificates here and appreciation to go with that. Can you take that one? We need those three, and then we need the school committee as well.
School committee over.
I think they need you over here, yeah. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you too.
Great Lee St. Louis, one of the best runners in Lawrence.
Maybe two gentlemen up front with the school committee behind us.
And Robert Kerr, one of the finest. Don't kiss me. Best of luck to you.
We need to squeeze it back. Can you come over here, please? Mr. V?
Oh, yeah, that's my two
We want the
buddies.
two gentlemen out in
My
front.
two buddies.
Lee, come on out here. Bob?
Out here?
Yeah, why don't you come right over here? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'll come right up front there. We don't want to hide Mr.
That's all right, I'll hide
Slide
behind
over
the
a
big
little
guys.
bit. Oh, you can slide over, just slide over a little bit, Mr. V. I can't see you, Mr. V. This.
Well, that's all right.
No,
that's
no,
all
no,
right.
no. Slide out a little bit.
That's all right.
There you
That's
go.
all right.
Come right out in front there. That's good.
That's all right.
Okay, all
I'll set
set?
it out of mind.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You are a great runner.
Yeah, thank you for everything.
Mr. Kid, don't leave your buddy without shaking my hand. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Once again, we recognize that this will take a community effort, and we've seen so many folks who have volunteered in our schools. Those are just two who put in a tremendous amount of hours. I also at this time want to recognize the school committee. Many of you participated at the painting of the Oliver Partnership School, putting in many hours, and we appreciate that as well, so I thank you. At this time, we also want to recognize Ed Reynoso, who was recently appointed a leadership. Dr. Reynoso was appointed a leadership fellow at UMass, where he will be, come on down.
Come on down, Eddie. One of our finer administrators.
Where he will be training new principals in how to be a principal. So do you want to have a seat for a minute? They may have a question for you. Any questions from the group about the program and what he was selected for?
Yes, what is the criteria for the program?
This program is a program with UMass Lowell, and it's for aspiring leaders, so people that are going to obtain their licensure in principalship or assistant superintendent licensure. So I'll be working with the Graduate School of Education, and the people that are taking the course will work with myself and other educators throughout the state, and hopefully mentor them into this role.
Dr. Reynoso is fairly modest. This was an incredibly competitive program where he was selected as one of just a few fellows who will train the next generation of school leaders. So I just wanted to congratulate him again. Mr. V.
Yes, I'd like to give you and Dr. Reynoso a synopsis of the last time, I'm going to say it up there. When the Lawrence School Committee picked 10 teachers, they had their masters, but they were going for their certifications as principals. Now, after spending thousands of dollars, not one of them got a job as a principal in the great city of Lawrence, after spending thousands of dollars. And I know two of them that got jobs in Haverhill as principal. The point I'm trying to make out to you without embarrassing everybody, because I wouldn't do that. You spend thousands and thousands of my money and all the people's money in the program, and not one of them, after they get, I know it gets tiring, Mr. Superintendent, but the truth of the matter is the city of Lawrence spent thousands and thousands of dollars preparing these people for principalships, and not one of them got a principal's job, and I know two, they got principal's jobs outside the city. Waste, waste, waste. Thank you.
Mr. Vittorioso, thank you very much, and that doesn't bother me at all. As you will recall, that program was certainly in place before I arrived.
The reason I say that it shouldn't bother you. The
Yeah.
point is that I'm trying to emphasize, and evidently it's not reaching the place it should. We had this program before. They had several people in the program, and I think maybe Dr. Bergeron know about it. These people they went for their principal's license. It cost the city of Lawrence thousands of dollars, and not one of them was hired as a principal in Lawrence. That's the point I'm trying to make. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Again, I've been pretty consistent that I'm not going to comment on what happened previously, as I was not here. What I can say is that we're pleased with our principal appointments, many of whom have come through the Lawrence teaching ranks, including folks that you've seen today. So we appreciate that. Thank you, Dr. Reynoso.
Thank you.
Ed, I have one question.
Yep.
Hi. Will any of the candidates that you supervise have the opportunity to internship in our district?
Yes, they'll be able to apply, and then we go through the district procedure, and if they're selected, they'll work with one of the principals in Lawrence.
Okay.
This is a state-approved program, and it's not just people from Lawrence, it's anybody that signed up to the course at UMass.
Thank you.
Dr. Reynoso, these people that go through your program, will they be given preference as to become a principal when they complete the course and spend thousands and thousands of dollars?
That's the university. That's
Yeah. There's no guarantee.
Mr. Bladford, you had a question?
Yeah. What kind of time commitment is this on your behalf? Especially seeing as we have you as a new principal now. I mean, how much more can you take on your plate? That's the question.
I am committed to the job that I do 24/7. I have a family of 2 young ones at home. It's never stopped me from accomplishing the goal of my job, my family goal, and my own personal goal. The commitment to this program is once a month. So we will be meeting as a group. My first meeting with the university is September 18th, and then they'll lay out all the criteria for the program. But most of it will be on assignment where we will go in, meet with the individuals, they come back, so it's more like a collaboration. At this point, most of those people are finishing their program, and they just need some mentoring to finish up.
Okay. I'm just glad we're not taking you away from your family the entire time. That's my concern.
Thank you, Dr. Reynoso.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We're going to move on. I want to talk briefly about the opening of school. We did have a early but smooth opening of school where our attendance was over 13,400 children. This is slightly more than is projected and is continuing the trend of us seeing more and more students despite the opening of charter schools in the city. Our attendance has been strong with well over 94% at the elementary level and 89% at the high school level. Again, we did start a little bit earlier, but it was a smooth opening thanks to the actions of many people, from facilities to teachers to principals to paras to this school committee, who all helped us to get reorganized and off on the right foot. The facilities work continues. I've been clear since I came that when we assess the district, due to no one's fault, I would say, just in a bad economy, the buildings have been neglected for almost a decade. And in order to prevent a catastrophic situation, we've had to direct additional resources to fixing these buildings. This is not a year-and-a-half project. This is probably going to be something we'll be updating you on over the next several years as this work is ongoing. We do have many beautiful buildings in Lawrence, but we also have many what I would call historical buildings that require additional maintenance and repair. MCAS update will be coming in October. I know Mr. Vittorioso is anxious to hear the scores. I'm told the embargo will be lifted on September 19th by the state, at which time we will send this school committee information on this particular schools and how everyone did, and then at the October meeting we will discuss them with you in more detail. Until then, we cannot talk about them publicly, but we remain cautiously optimistic. One of the things we did last spring was we made some difficult choices around central office, where we reduced the size of central office by almost a third. We used some of that money for a variety of things, including extending the day in some of our elementary schools. We have almost 9,000 students getting additional time, not just for the arts and enrichment, which I believe are very important, but also for targeted instruction in math and English, where our kids are showing gaps. We also used that additional funding for things like putting more teachers and resources at the school level in ELL and special education, and in doing a textbook adoption at the high school, where we'll spend almost $400,000 to bring in a new curriculum textbook that has been sorely needed at this high school for some time. I want to thank Mr. Katz and the many high school faculty members who worked on this committee for months to figure out what is the best textbook going forward as we move to the Common Core. Congratulations to them. I also wanted to talk to you about the SAT preparation. I think it's time that we started looking beyond just graduating kids from college. Mr. Payano has been an eloquent speaker on this and about the need for SAT prep for our students. We have added at half of the high schools, actually we'll have a class embedded into their day that students can take. The other two will be having it in January at an INT, the school which now stops in 10th grade. Those students will have the ability to access the different classes across the other schools. So as we begin to ramp up that it's beyond high school graduation we're looking at, that we actually want to prepare kids for college, the SAT program will be something that's vital and something where we believe we need to direct more resources to. Mr. Payano?
No, I just wanted to acknowledge Mr. Qualtis' help with that. I know we've been meeting with principals all throughout, I want to say April and May, and during the summer, Mr. Qualtis got all the teachers, all the principals together, and we discussed starting SAT prep programs at the high schools, and I know that they're all going to be working sort of different formats, and I think this is the way to go. I've seen and come into contact with a lot of students, A, B, honor roll students that were taking the exam blind. And even after I told them, like, hey, here's an SAT prep course that's available to them, they didn't quite understand why they needed to be studying for it. So I think that this exam, this prep course, even if it comes into contact with 30, 40 students of each high school, that those students will then tell the juniors and the sophomores how important the exam is, and there'll be more energy to sort of study for the SATs, because they're super vital when it comes to not just getting accepted into college, but financial aid.
You know, Mr. Payano, I don't think I could agree with you more, and you've taken a great leadership role in this area. SAT prep is kind of a given for kids in the suburbs, and our kids need to have the same exact access to that preparation that other kids get. And so having it going across our different high schools will be a great opportunity for kids that really want to be prepared when they take that test.
Mr. Riley?
Yes, sir.
Question on the, Mr. Piano brings up valid points. On this SAT, everybody needs help on it. I didn't do well the first time. Second time, I did marvelous.
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 Okay.
I did marvelous. First time. was
Congratulations.
A precursor. Well, sometimes you gotta show your brilliance. Now on this SAT, are these taught in the classes that the SAT has English class, math class, and science? Is that part of the curriculum of those 3 subjects? Or is this what you're talking about, Mr. Payano, SAT, something completely different than working with these teachers in the core areas?
So the core areas remain. This is like an elective course that students can sign up for to take, if that's the direction they're going to.
Yeah, so I think for some of the schools it's an elective course, and then for, I believe, HHS, they're doing it in like their homeroom period.
Advisory.
The advisory, yeah. So
Now, I have a question for you, sir. This SAT.
I may not be able to answer it, but sure.
Of course you can answer. You're a brilliant young man. This SAT, is this interact with the MCAS, MCAS, or is it completely different?
The SAT exam, it's
Scholastic aptitude test, I understand.
Yeah, it's just admittance for college. So a lot of
And it has
universities.
nothing to do with MCAS.
No, I mean, it's a complete, and I think part of the problem is a lot of the students, they prepare so much, we've been preparing them since they're young for the MCAS, that after their sophomore year, sometimes they don't know how to take another type of standardized test. So you see them you see really smart students doing bad in different types of college kind of entrance exams, and it's because they're just so built in to sort of take a test like the MCAS.
Now, I noticed the Arnie Anderson, or whatever his name is, Secretary of Education, is bringing out new programs which the school systems don't like across the country. It's a new type of testing that he's involved with and the president's involved with, and many of the administrators countrywide, they're pulling their hair out. Have you heard about that, Arnie Anderson? Have you heard about that?
It's Arnie Duncan, yes, and
Thank you.
clearly I must be one of the people pulling his hair out. What I would say is the federal government is transitioning to what they call the Common Core. There has been much debate in this state, and rightfully so, I would say, about whether this exam will be as rigorous as our current test is. Massachusetts MCAS test is widely regarded as being the most comprehensive exam in the country. Each state has the opportunity to kind of set their own test, and I have a brother who lives in a state down south, and the test down there is very easy. And 90% of the children are told they're proficient or advanced, where if they came up here and take this test, it would be a much smaller number of students proficient and advanced, I guarantee you that. So Massachusetts is regarded as having the most rigorous exam in the country. We are moving towards this new exam. My hope is that it will be as rigorous and comprehensive so that our children have high standards to aspire to. But it's something that bears watching, and I appreciate you bringing it up, Mr. Vittorioso, because it's an important thing that we're going to have to watch over the next few years as they change the format of the test.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we take questions before moving on to public participation.
I have a question, Mr. Rowley. You can't answer it now because you had told me you won't have the exams from until the end of this month on the tests that are so valuable.
Yep.
What are you looking to see? personally, what are you looking to see?
You know, I think we're looking for growth from our students, improvement. We set out a pretty lofty goal of doubling the amount of schools that are closing the achievement gap, and that's based on a specific number. And so we're trying to, that was our goal for this year, and that would be a pretty significant accomplishment if we could achieve it. Mostly what I'm cautiously optimistic about is that our teachers, our administrators, and our students, with help from their parents, worked incredibly hard last year. We had thousands of children who gave up their vacation because they wanted to get extra help, and the teachers came in and provided that extra instruction for kids. And, you know, I've always been a believer that hard work matters, and I think luck is the residue of hard work, and I believe our kids are going to perform.
Are we talking now 4th, 8th, and 10th grade testing?
So we take MCAS now in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10 grade.
3 to 8 and 10?
Yeah, 3 to 8 and then 10.
Boy, they expanded it from the last couple of years.
There's been a great expansion over the last few years in the MCAS assessments. Right now it is, it's primarily math and English. You get science in grades 5, 8, and then you have to pass one of the science tests in grade 9 or 10, depending on when you take that. And there is no social studies MCAS exam.
That's a shame.
I would agree with that statement. Other questions from the group?
I just had a couple questions. The new principals list or administrative list that you gave to us.
Yeah.
Quickly, I looked through it, and then I looked through the budget at what it was. And I just wanted a couple clarifications on things. For the Hennessy School, we have an acting principal.
Yeah.
Is that the current assistant principal?
Indeed. So that's a great question, Mr. Blatchford. And my hope is to bring, much like we did last year, many of these leaders before you. As we assessed the district, we saw that many of the early childhood centers, as you know, were being led by assistant principals, when in fact they were acting de facto as the principal of some of which are very large buildings. And so talking to union leaders and working within the system, we decided that those folks should be converted into principals, which is more reflective of what their job is. So all those folks are back, with the exception of Ada Ramos, who moved on to take over the tar box for us, and we have a new person that's come in to take over at the Breen.
So that being said, what's the ultimate hiring plan for full-time principals and or getting those people assistant principals so they can become actual full-time principals?
I don't think the numbers will support the early childhood centers getting an assistant principal. We just wanted to recognize that their work is more in line with a principal. The hiring plan has always been kind of the same. We're looking for the best leaders to take over our buildings. Now, as you know, we probably changed over the principal leadership to the tune of about 40%. I think we're pretty comfortable with the folks we have right now, and we're excited to go forward.
The other question I had was regarding the Oliver School, not the partnership school, but the middle. We have Ed Reynoso as our new principal, and then we have Jessica Cunningham as our assistant principal.
Yep.
There's no actual assistant principal position in the budget. So did we add that last minute, or what?
You know, we recognized, and this is much like we did last year at the Leonard when Unlocking Potential came in, that we didn't want to shortchange our students who felt like, oh, they don't care about us anymore. So we wanted to make sure we had resources there to put up with that. We've saved, you know, a fair amount of money because we had many retirements, folks that cost more money on the scale, brought in some new people who obviously cost less, so we had enough to be able to put an assistant principal there. That obviously is a kind of one-year situation, while Unlocking Potential the following year will phase in and take the whole building. But I think it's the right thing to do to not shortchange our kids just because they happen to be in a building that's changing its current structure. To that end, last year we offered acceleration academies, all the enrichment opportunities to make sure that our students felt like they were getting the services that they're due.
I just have two more questions. One of them is regarding the new staff at the central office.
Yes.
So we have a few acting chief operating officer, acting deputy assistant principal, acting director of ELL.
Sure.
Are they going to be made permanent, or are these just one-year positions, or are these people hired for a short time? What's the...
So I think, we've been pretty clear about following a very specific hiring process, and when the timeline doesn't allow it, we put people in as acting, and so that they can start that job, but then they will have to reapply for the job later in the year, and it will be open posted so that other folks can apply for it. In regards to central office, as you know, I think we had almost 100 people in central office last year, and that number is down to about 73 or 74. So we made significant reductions. Almost a third of central office has been reduced because we believe that those resources could be better spent at the school level, helping us with additional ELL teachers or special education teachers or extended time or textbooks adoptions and those kind of things. I think when you have a finite budget, you have to kind of decide, what are your priorities and what do you believe in? And I think our budget priorities are an expression of what we believe in, and that is that the resources are better served at the school level.
That being said, were these people previously hired in the system, or are they new hires into the system? And if they're old hires, are they receiving a pay bump because of it? And if they're new?
I think we're going to have to take it on a case-by-case basis. I think what you'll find is we do have some new people in. We have some folks that kind of changed jobs and took over things that have been in the system for many years, and we're happy to give you all that information.
And then the final question being about Phoenix Academy. I saw that we actually have another Phoenix Academy on South Union Street. So is that a separate program, or is that
No.
just the administration part of Phoenix?
So, as you will recall, we rented from the Archdiocese last year. We did go out to bid, and the folks who won the bid are at that mill, Marianne Paley's group, and so the Phoenix program has been relocated there.
Okay. So
it was always the hope of the Phoenix director that they would have a site closer to downtown so that kids from all over the city could access the program.
So is the former site no longer being utilized by us?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Payano?
Yes, I had a couple questions. Some of them were regarding the budget, and I think James has asked them. The document that you sent out last week, where it presented a projected FY13 local budget, one of the parts at the bottom, it says that it's based on a projected budget figure and is pending final approval. And I just wanted to understand pending final approval from what exactly?
So I think, the city turns over its books over the summer, and we would just wait for a final confirmation that everything is passed. It typically is, but that's something that we have to say in case some emergency arose at the city level. We also internally will look at where we are as a system. When you may hire an amazing teacher with 10 years of experience, and they may be put at a different pay grade than a newer teacher. And as we synthesize all the data on our new hires, we'll have an idea of what additional money we have available, if any, for additional priorities.
Okay, thank you. I also had it's not really a question, it's more of a sort of stating a concern. With all the turnovers that have been happening, specifically with BMF, I think for the last 3 years, they might have had 3 different types of principals.
Yep.
And I think that's not, great to develop the culture of a school. So my concern, just to put it out there, that we need to make sure that we have the right people under leadership, but at the same time, we need to make sure that there's consistency with that.
Well, again, we've been here for about 18 months, and we would agree that the leadership has changed quite frequently in that building. We believe that the person running that building now is the right person going forward to bring stability, and is a gentleman who's worked for numerous years in Lawrence, so we're pretty optimistic about
And
that.
just to
But your
advocate-
point is well taken.
On behalf of the principal and assistant principal at BMF, they're both former teachers of mine, both excellent gentlemen who I have the utmost confidence in, that I think that was an excellent appointment by the receiver.
Right. No, I'm just saying that just because, you know, I was talking to a student who's a junior now, and he was just saying, like, I think I've had, you know, he's a senior now, I'm sorry. He's had, you know, 3 different types of principals. And I think, you know, any student walking the halls, that amount of change in leadership affects them. So hopefully, next year, it'll be the same principal, the same leadership.
We're pretty confident, Mr. Payano. I mean, I think, although we've only been here 18 months, you know, I think we've had 18 months of restructuring. And what I said at the opening day ceremony is that restructuring work is, in my opinion, over, and that we are ready to go forward with the team that we have. And we're pretty optimistic. When I came, there were many people who felt that the Lawrence Public Schools should be dismantled and turned into charter schools. And there were a lot of people that wanted to blame the teachers. And, you know, when I came in and assessed it, I kept running into good people everywhere I went. And, you know, we did have to make some difficult choices, particularly at our level 4 schools. But overall, the amount of talent in this district, I would put our people up against anyone in this Commonwealth. And, you know, I think you're going to be really proud of them in the coming days, because I'm proud of them right now.
And Mr. Riley, I would agree on that. I think most people from outside, if we listen to what most people from outside the city said, I think there'd be no Lawrence. So I definitely think we have amazing individuals here, and hopefully we continue to show that. I have a question regarding some of the appointments that were made. Like, I just don't know what some of these titles, what, you know, some of these individuals will be doing. So I was hoping you might be able to.
Sure.
Okay, so Director of Innovation and Talent.
So I guess one of the things that we've seen across the country is that things are changing rapidly in education as far as technology and STEM learning and things like that, and we felt like we needed to bring somebody in with an expertise in this area to give our kids what they needed. We also, at the same time, wanted to marry that with the idea that we believe we have great teachers here, but we also recognize that we have retirements every year, and we need somebody that can go out and get the best teachers that we can find, whether it's in the Commonwealth, in Lawrence, across the country. I have no, particular say over that one way or the other. We just want great people in front of our kids. And so that is an area where we added a person.
Great. I think we discussed, I don't know if it was in the last meeting or the meeting before that, but I know we've been discussing for the last 18 months, the idea that not only the importance of recruiting teachers from this area, and I think we've talked several times. I know I talked to the commissioner before all this got started. I talked to you as well, right in the process while you were getting in here, about developing some type of pilot program. I think with everything getting together, I don't think much work has been done with that aspect. So I just wanted to see where we're at. Is this individual going to be working with that?
I think it's fair to say that that will be under the scope of work that individual will be working on. And, echoing my earlier statements, I think the talent inside this city and this district is pretty staggering. And we would be foolish not to invest in our folks that are from here and can do great things. You'll see with a lot of appointments are lifelong Lawrence people, whether they were your teachers. Some folks came up and started as paras. We are very interested in continuing to make sure that employment opportunities are open to the citizens of Lawrence and graduates of the system.
Yeah, I would say, but it's not only that these opportunities are open, but I think there has to be some type of initiative, whether maybe not just from Lawrence Public Schools, maybe with some of the universities out here, where we do make a push and we do try to either attract some of our college grads that come from Lawrence or some of the other individuals that want to become, so we essentially teaching them and not just saying that this is open for you to come through.
Yeah, I think that is what that position is all about, and I would be happy to connect you to Mr. Matera because I think we do have an untapped resource of folks that have been successful in Lawrence who we would find incredible value in coming back to serve the district and our students.
Okay. Next, Acting Chief Redesign Officer.
Yeah. So we've changed the fundamental structure of the district, whereas we've brought in EMOs, we've brought in match tutors, we've brought in
EMOs, what?
educational management organizations like Unlocking Potential, Community Day, Spark Academy, the Lawrence Teacher Union Partnership School. And so we've fundamentally changed how this district is operating, particularly with, it doesn't happen very often that a district decides to decrease the size of its central office by a third. The typical game plan, I think what I've seen in urban areas, is to add to the central office ad nauseum and not put the resources down at the school level. We're talking about a fundamental change in how this school district operates, where instead of the schools working for the central office, in effect what's happening now is the central office works for the schools. And to change that, there are 1,000 things, probably 10,000 things that need to change. I'll give you just one example, which is, what we call we're putting out something called the Ghostbuster book, which is who are you going to call when you have a problem? And we're putting that together so that people know what this fundamental restructuring looks like and who they can call if they have a problem. And so that redesign work is going to be imperative over the next 2 to 3 years as we get the district at really functioning at an optimal level.
I think I'll talk to you later about that, because I just don't, I'm still not quite capturing what the role is. Also, Nelson Boutin, Director of Community, Family, and Student Engagement. What is your vision for that role?
So Nelson, beyond working with the Family Welcome Center, is going to be out and doing a lot of the work he did at Lawrence Community Works, which is connecting parents back into the school system. There's been much said in Lawrence about the parents not caring about their children's education. I have said over and over again that I couldn't find that further from the truth. I've never met a parent in Lawrence who doesn't deeply love their child.
Well said.
And what I would say is the onus has been on the school system to invite parents in. And we have some schools that do a great job of that, and where parents are true partnerships. Down at the end of this aisle, you see Pat Mariano, who may be the gold standard for parent engagement at the school level. But not everyone is there yet. And we've asked Nelson to come on board to help our principals and help our parents connect and better be partners in the work of educating our kids. And so this is a mammoth undertaking, but it's something that I think falls on the school department to be more welcoming to our families.
If I can follow up on that one position, how is that different from our parent liaison? We have 2 parent liaisons. How is that?
At the school level or at the... This is the kind of supervisor of that program, of everything from registration, which is, as you can imagine, with 13,400 kids, there's a tremendous amount of work that has to be done to make sure that our kids get registered, get brought in, vaccinations, parents know about open houses, and those folks will kind of work under them, but we've added resources, as I told you guys last year at the budget, to parent engagement. Despite the fact that we cut a significant amount of central office, we did add resources in a few places. This is one of those places, because we feel that we need to do a better job at working with our parents.
Superintendent, if I may interrupt you one moment. Mr. Button did reach out to me, and I was very honored to meet with him last week and discuss what his vision is for parent engagement and bringing the community into the school. And I offered my services to him, and hopefully the school committee will jump on board and will be an integral part of engaging parents and engaging the community in our schools.
Thank you.
Just a quick correct. Boutin.
Well.
I think Mr.
I'm
Santos, did you have a
sorry.
question?
No, for now, it's okay.
No, it was actually
We have
me.
time for a couple more questions. I do want to be respectful of people's time and move to public participation, but do we have a few more questions from the group?
Yeah, I do. But go ahead.
So he's going to be coming in as the Director of Family and Community and Family Engagement for students.
That's correct.
So are we getting rid of the current parent liaisons we have? Or did we lose one?
I'm just not exactly sure we're talking about the same positions, but the parent outreach people, specialists we had in the district will be back, with the exception of one that did retire.
And they're going to be falling under Nelson, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can we go back to the redesign officer?
Sure.
Is he going to be doing the finances for the school?
He will certainly assist in that area. The gentleman in question was the Deputy Chief Financial Officer of the Boston Public Schools, so has intimate knowledge of budgets and whatnot. When he arrived, for example, one of the things that we did in our assessment, which he figured out very quickly, was that the lease for central office actually belongs to the city side. The cost should be paid for by the city, because any lease after 3 years becomes the property of the city and their responsibility. So the school department has been paying that rather large, I might say, cost for the last 5 or 6 years when it should not have been happening. That money is now being able to be used inside the district for things, for priorities for our kids.
Last questions regarding the title. I know Mr. Rodriguez is now Assistant Headmaster of Personnel and School Culture, who's doing, I think what he did before, the curriculum kind of guidance.
Mr. Reynoso?
No.
I thought Mr. Rodriguez used to be at the high school in charge of last year.
Juan Rodriguez. Yep, I'm sorry, you're talking about a different person. Yep, tell me your question again.
Mr. Rodriguez, he used to be in charge of curriculum and sort of like that type of guidance with teachers. He's now headmasters. Who's doing,
It's assistant headmaster. So
assistant
yeah,
headmaster.
he'll still take on much of that role, but we did reconfigure the high school slightly to add department heads who could help with evaluations, really just changing what were coaches into department heads because we wanted to give them greater responsibility, and we changed kind of the format at the assistant headmaster level due to the growing population, among other things, but to provide additional support there. Again, this ties back into us reducing the size of central office and putting the resources at the schools.
So he's essentially still doing.
He's doing much of that work, and these are the kind of folks that we can bring before you as we have in the past, and you can ask all the questions. This is a position which, when Juan took it, I was clear with him, there are certain things, including curriculum and other things that he'll be working on, but may evolve depending on the needs of the school, depending on what's happening with the test scores in a few weeks, and so he'll be able to come and present to you, and you guys can ask questions.
Great. Last question is over this sheet that was on the table. I know I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at.
Okay, I'm not sure what you're looking at either. Which
Enrollment.
That was
enrollment? So is the bottom number 13,400 and change?
Yes.
Yes.
So I think that's just number of students that have come into the district. Again, we seem to be growing, even larger than our projections, which is, good news and slightly concerning news because, because we are, we're pretty tight with space right now, and it bears watching.
Speaking of growth, do we have growth projections, and how bad are they? Like, how off are they?
So I think we projected just slightly over 13,100 this year to start the year. Remember, that number fluctuates based on a variety of factors throughout the year. So we're slightly over by about 300. We are in the process of doing a multi-year assessment for those projections. But again, they're just that, they're projections, and things change over time for any number of reasons. It bears watching. I think in the next few years, we're going to have to talk about whether we need to build new schools if this trend continues. Now, I'm not saying it's going to continue, but I'm saying that it certainly bears watching going forward to make sure that we have adequate space for our children. I would also say that my understanding is that some of the school buildings were sold off years ago, and that unfortunately may come back to haunt us at some point.
I voted against them.
Thank you, Mr. Vittorioso. We appreciate that.
I voted against them, the only one.
Mr. Riley, now, did you see that jump, do you believe, at the high school level? Because perhaps with the new initiatives that were being done, more kids were coming in, or is it more younger kids?
I think it's been pretty spread out. I mean, I think
A lot of little K-1s.
a lot of the early childhood, and we are seeing some growth at the high schools too. Remember, that may not look that way because the numbers may look flat, but we've actually added the Phoenix program and HLC is expanding, so those numbers are, and that may also be, by the way, that we're able to retain more of our students in the system at the high school level, whereas before we were losing people. But that, that's something we have to look at a little bit more closely. I don't have the exact pulse on that yet.
Okay, and that just leads into my final question. We've talked in the last two meetings twice about, well, not twice, but at each meeting we've discussed sort of like what the future plans for this building are going to be, or what Central Office is going to be. Just wanted to see if, talk to you, have any discussions been made? Are we going to start having this discussion anytime soon?
I think we're going to have discussion. I would be honored if you or one of your committee members would be on a committee to look at that as we go forward. The lease, I believe, is up a year from January, which may seem a year and a half away, like a long time, but it is not, particularly in the world of finance. In a central office which has been reduced by a third, I'm not sure we need this much space now. Whether we stay here and just don't take as much space, whether we go somewhere else, whether we move back into a school building, if there is space available, all of these things need to be looked at very closely in line with the projections we're talking about with our kids. Because what we don't want to do is move somewhere and then find out our kids need the building. So we need to take some pretty careful study on this, but it needs to be looked at, in my opinion.
If possible, if in the next couple of months you can start that discussion, just because once you said it, a year and a half, that's nothing.
Right.
That's right there. So since then, it's just been in the back of my mind, because the last thing I would want for the discussion to start 9 months before it happens. So I think the sooner, the better, even if not all the people that you think should be around the table are.
I appreciate that, Mr. Vice Chair, and if you could, I know you're tied up with a lot of school, but if you could be available to serve on that committee, or one of your members, if you guys could kind of huddle together at some point and figure that out, we'd be honored to have someone on the school committee involved in that process.
Great.
We're looking for, we're always looking to maximize the educational experience for our kids, and we need to spend our dollars wisely. And so this is certainly an area where we need to do deeper study.
Right. And also, I just wanted to apologize. I know you sent us sort of the strategic outlook and objectives that the commission and yourself have for Lawrence Public Schools. Since I got it last week, I haven't had enough time to really go over it. But
I'm not giving a pop quiz tonight, I promise.
No. For the next meeting, I'll be prepared to to basically figure out exactly what's going on.
I appreciate that. One final question, or are we ready to go?
Just
yes, ma'am.
quickly, the Lawrence Cultural Council, we're in the midst of our granting cycle, and the due date for grants is October 15th. If there's any way the schools could be notified, it funds any kind of cultural events that the individual schools would like to have for the kids. We could partially fund it.
If you could reach out to Dr. Bergeron.
Okay,
or,
will do.
Ms. Lipkin and follow up.
Companion week.
Okay, at this time, we're going to move to public participation. We have Mr. Mali. Mr. Mali, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Welcome back.
Mr. Mali.
Good evening, honorable members of the Lawrence School Committee. When Honorable Mayor Lantigua, in rescuing 13,000 children of Lawrence Public School, went to the Commissioner Chester, arrival of Honorable Superintendent Raleigh has become Lawrence Public School most important event. Turnaround plan has been working positively and making good changes. What we need to remind ourselves, we as a citizen support our teachers and their wonderful union. For 3 years before turnaround plan, our teachers, they don't have any collective bargaining contract. It is important to the success of turnaround plan. We support our teachers and the union and their contract. Honorable Superintendent Raleigh absolutely right in creation of the teachers cabinet, that the teachers be able, without any fear of retaliation by the high paid principal, express their opinion. We also support our brother, our teacher, Mr. Mendez from Lawrence High School in medical leave. We wish him the best to come back. Success of turnaround plan depends on support of our teachers. In the new years, we as a parent and citizen advise you to support and speak up for our teachers and their union. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Molly. Mr. Vittorioso, is this your name I see here?
Yes, sir, it is. You won't be seeing it much longer, but it is. I think everybody's about had it. People, I only have a 15-minute speech.
I think we have a 2-minute time limit, Mr. Vittorioso.
Oh, come on. It has been 3 months since our last school committee meeting. A lot has happened. I want to thank Suzanne McHugh-Piscatello, Mayor Steve Zani, and former Assistant Superintendent Ernie Zeich. These 3 people helped me a lot when I began my teaching career. Jim Scully, Joe Toomey, Victor Clary, Claire Melanson, for your wonderful evaluation my first time out. To my fellow school committee members, thank you. If medals were to be given out for bravery, you would win them. You have no power, but your performance every day is superlative. I talked to 7 people on the Hill about running for my position. Response, you got to be kidding, Jimmy. No, Jimmy isn't kidding. I want to thank all the students I've had the opportunity to interact with. It was these stars that allowed me to continue teaching under some of the worst possible scenarios. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Vittorioso. Charlie San?
Oh, there's my buddy. Used to be, oh my God, I lose friends more than, oh, we'll have to talk.
So you ready to go on a field trip with me tomorrow, our school committee member?
Where?
To the high school.
Oh, I don't go to the high school.
Okay. That's why you don't know what's going on over there.
Oh, I know what's going on, believe me.
Question to Mr. Riley. Textbook at the high school. Are we having the budget for the textbook?
Yes, I'm assuming you arrived late. We've just spent almost $500,000 on math textbooks with more adoptions coming.
This is the second week that my child have gone to the high school. Come home with no textbook. Come home with a note yesterday. Not enough textbooks. You need a textbook, you need to sign it, but not every day. Textbook, I'm trying to inform the school department since 2002, since my son was in 8th grade, and we're still short. Are we sending our children to Afghanistan to fight without a gun? Mr. Payano been gone to the high school. Did you ever check the textbook? Talk to the student about the textbook? If you take a look at chemistry book, physics book, teacher can't even use it. Why are we buying those useless textbooks? Except the AP, which is good. I think I had about enough. 11, 12 years. You seeing children without textbook? I used to blame myself. Why my child's failing? I used to point like that to me. Now, I'm not pointing at myself anymore. I'm blaming all of you. You know why? Every year I take a look at my children's MCAS score. It's declining. Because of that poor textbook, or principal not even bother to order the textbook. And if you have any children who graduate from high school the last 5 years, I don't know if you take a look at the high school diploma, there's no headmaster or principal signed it. Did you ever notice it when you all signed it?
I have.
Did you ever mention that no high school principal or headmaster signed it?
I don't talk to those people.
Okay, this is.
Well, we elect you to represent our children.
Unfortunately.
Your job is to talk to them. Why is that not happening?
Mr. San, we welcome you to come and speak, but this is not supposed to be an interactive forum. We can talk to you offline. We're happy to talk to you more about that. As we did say.
Oh, are you going to give me an answer about that textbook?
Sure, I just told you, we just spent almost $500,000 on new math textbooks at the high school with more adoptions coming. That we cut central office by a third in order to buy more textbooks for our children.
Next year, right? Those
This year.
textbooks will
Math
be
is,
arrived.
math is this year.
Point of
Next year, we're gonna
How
have
about
more.
biology?
Point of order.
Yeah.
I think this discussion that's going on might not be too beneficial, but I do have a question that will be dealing with the textbooks that I will ask Mr. Riley. Now, for the past, since I've been a member of the school committee, that's a question that I've always brought up, because there seems to be sort of a disconnect between the money that we put in when it comes to textbooks. I always see tons of money going into textbooks, but for whatever reason, whether it was when my sister was going to school, or when I would talk to some of the AP students, I didn't realize that, it would still go on now. But for whatever reason, teachers sometimes do not allow the students to take the books home. So I think it might not be an answer you have for us today, but I think it's definitely something that all the principals should look at, because the last thing that you would want is for someone to come home saying that they have a problem with their history book, with a history question, and then I wasn't a parent, but as a brother or even as a friend, I wasn't able to help anyone because I didn't have that book with me. So it's definitely a question that I will ask again at the next meeting, just to see what the process is.
Sure. No, listen, I think in the time we've been here, our assessment has been very clear that we do have inadequate supplies and textbooks for our children. I'll give you one example of some of the math books we're using, a CMP program at the K-8 level, which was the original version, which I think was printed in 1998, which now teaches standards that the children aren't expected to have in front of them and aren't tested on. And so part of the reason for this turnaround plan is to direct more resources at the schools, including a very large high school textbook adoption this year with more to follow. And I think it's something we should talk about pretty frequently.
I think we should put that for the next agenda,
Fine.
where we are in public participation
Yeah.
debate at this time. So let's
Final-
put that for the next agenda, that way we could have a better answer.
Sure. Mr. San, you have final thoughts? We do have other
My
folks.
child cannot wait no longer for 2 more weeks for the textbook. It has to be done immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Campert, Union Street.
Ladies and gentlemen of the school committee, Superintendent Riley, thank you for allowing me to speak. Union Street is my work address. I am not yet a Lawrence resident. I'm new to the area. I am, since the summer, the executive director of a nonprofit organization in Lawrence called YDO, Youth Development Organization. We work with the students you saw perform here this evening. That was a small cohort of what we put on this summer. We had 45 plus students participating in a musical theater production called Seussical Junior. And this is the second year that we've worked in this musical theater space. Last year we had a large group to put on Annie Junior. I came to speak because since I came to Lawrence, I've heard a lot about the good things going on in PFA. I've also heard that there's a huge gap and there's no pipeline feeding PFA with the rich talent in the city. And so YDO has been working to kind of provide some of those enrichment opportunities at the middle school level. The Performing Project is one of those. We also had a summer program in our office at Union Street in the Everett Mills. We offered mathematics, we had art, we had ceramics. We partnered with the Latino STEM Alliance and did 5 weeks of robotics. Our robotics kids didn't just do robotics and then go home. Our program built up to a competition in Boston with half a dozen other programs, and the group from Lawrence, well, a group, because we took enough to field 4 teams in Boston. One of our teams took first place. And so we're very proud of some of these enrichment programs that are taking place because
30 seconds.
it builds a spirit of participation. It builds a story that the students can tell, and it encourages them to engage in other ways when they step inside the classroom. YDO has a bright future, I believe, in this city, and my final plug will be that at the end of September, on the 25th, we'll be having a fundraiser. It's a taste of the Merrimack Valley, where we have local restaurants providing food samples, and we'll hold a silent auction to raise money for the organization. That's September 25th, and anyone who wants information can call our office at 978-688-4300. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campert. That concludes our public participation portion of the agenda and the first meeting of the Lawrence School Committee. We will see you in October. Thank you very much.
Thank you.